आदाब सलाम नमस्कार एक बार फिर स्वागत है वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ यू इन a new episode of PLG 156th non-stop episode to be very precise, and this we are celebrating a legend, an English poet, a very famous English poet, in fact, who is called the father of English literature and the father of English poetry. He is none other than Geoffrey Chaucer. As you all know, that we conduct different type of programs under PLG with the vision connecting people to literature. And one of the important aspects of this connection of people with literature is to make people connected with our legends. Without reading whom or without knowing whom or those all legends, our knowledge will not be complete and we will not be truly connected to the literature. So with that intention in mind, we conduct a program every month. One of the programs is dedicated to one of the legend, alternately with Hindi, Urdu, and English poet. And this month we have the turn of the English poet, and we have selected Geoffrey Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer, as you all know, that is, as I said earlier, the father of the English poetry or the literature. But he had been more than a poet. He had been an astronomer. He had been, a bureaucrat, courtier, diplomat, and member of parliament. I don't want to tell more about Geoffrey Chaucer because our anchor, who is another, what do you call? I would say that. What shall I say? I wanted to use a phrase, but I'm not getting at the moment. But she is one of the most talented English poet of our group. Not only our group, but I would say that most competent and most what do you call accomplished young poetess of the current age. I would say, not only PhD. And she is none other than Likhita. Likhita had been with PLG from the very beginning, and she had been performing. Her, passion for the literature is unparalleled. She used to travel, 150 into 2 means almost more than 300 kilometers every month to attend our physics program here. That shows the kind of passion she has for the poetry. And her writings are really wonderful, wonderful. She creates an aura with her poetry. She creates what do you call a living scene in front of you with her poetries. Often I have seen once there was a rain in this one. I remember, she immediately within few minutes she posted a poem on what do you call, on that rain. I was in Muscat, 150 kilometer away from there, and there was not even a single drop of rain, but I could visualize and see those rain, what do you call, that scene of rain there in this book. So that kind of poet she is. But today we are going to, listen from her about the poet of the day. That's or the celebrating or the legend whom we are celebrating today, Geoffrey Chaucer. And I remember very well the kind of information, the kind of historical journey she had created for our last English poet, Shakespeare. That was unparalleled, and I'm sure she must be having something very unique presentation today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our anchor of the day, Likita Kavu, with a big hand. And let's go to her and see what she has in stock today. Over to you, Likita.
My heart is beating really fast, sir. Thank you so much. I don't even think I deserve half the things you said. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Good evening, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon, maybe. I hope all of you are doing okay on day. And I'm sorry if my internet is a little up and down. There was a storm earlier, hailstorm in Hyderabad, and without wasting time, I'd like to move to the point. Today, celebrating the legend, it's Chaucer. And we've been talking, Sudeep sir and I have been talking about Chaucer a minute ago, and we've been discussing about how versatile he is with his works. And if I keep going, I just keep going on. And did you know the best poet of the Middle Ages and widely regarded as the father of English literature, Geoffrey Chaucer? He was a son of affluent wine merchants, John Chaucer and Agnes Copton, and was born in London, England, around 1343. When he was a student at St. Paul's Cathedral School, Geoffrey is supposed to have discovered the writings of Ovid and Virgil, which later impacted his own writings. Geoffrey was employed by Countess Elizabeth of Ulster as a public servant in 1357. This is a little information about him. Now, let's be honored by celebrating Chaucer on this wonderful evening. Today, we have a bunch of poets who are really eager to recite Chaucer. And before I invite each poet, I would like to give a little fun fact about Chaucer as I introduce the poet. Now, is Charvi here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you know Geoffrey Chaucer is considered the founder of English literature? He was the first writer to write in English vernacular when most court contents were in Anglo-Norman or Latin. His works were inspired by Italian Renaissance writers such as Dante, Petrarch, and Boccaccio. In turn, his works inspired Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, and even J.K. Rowling. We have Charvi from Indonesia with her first poem. Please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here tonight. And for the fun fact, the poem that I've chosen is believed to be Geoffrey Chaucer's last work and is named Complaint of Chaucer to his Purse. It is a 26-line ballad and a parody of the traditional complaint genre that was popular during the Middle Ages. I hope you enjoy this recitation. I will begin. To Yao, my purse, and to none other wight, complain I, for ye be my lady dear. I'm so sorry now that ye be light. For certes, but if ye make me heavy cheer, me were as lief be laid upon my bier. For which unto your mercy thus I cry, beth heavy again, or else might I die. Now vouch it safe this day ere it be night, that I of yo the blissful sound may hear, or see your color like the sun bright, that of yellowness had never peer. Ye be my life, ye be mine heart's steer, queen of comfort and of good company. Breath heavy again, or else might I die. Now, purse, that been to me my life's light, and the Savior as down in this world here. Out of this town help me through your might, sin that ye will not be my treasure, for I am shave as nigh as any fair. But yet I pray unto your courtesy, breath heavy again, or else might I die. Then void the Chaucer, O conqueror of brutes Albion, which that by line and free election be very king. This song to you I send, and ye that may all our harms amend, have mind upon my supplication. Thank you.
Wow,
Very good.
Chavi, beautiful.
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 Super.
And the fact is that this particular
So
poem,
powerful.
and the fact is that this particular application was given to the queen, and she was so touched that his pension was again restored, and he got it throughout his life.
I see.
Yeah. It's very good rendition.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chavi. Our next poet. Is Hamza here with us?
Yes.
Did you know that Chaucer was born into the shoemaker family? Chaucer meaning shoemaker. His father, John Chaucer, was a winemaker. His family fostered him in a royal household to enhance his chances of career success. Thus, he spent his teenage years in the service of Countess Elizabeth, wife to Lionel of Antwerp, first Duke of Clarence and third son of King Edward. We have Hamza from Bahrain reciting the next poem.
Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm Hamza Rizvi, and I'm going to be reciting the poem Controlling the Tongue by Geoffrey Chaucer. Hope you all enjoy it. My son, keep well thy tongue, and keep thy friend. A wicked tongue is worse than a fiend. My son, from a fiend men may them bless. My son, God of his endless goodness, walled a tongue with teeth and lips eke. For man should him awise what he speak. My son, full of, for too much speak hath many a man been spilt, as clerks teach, but for little speech awisely is no man sent to speak generally. My son, thy tongue shouldst thou restrain at all time, but when thou dost thy pain to speak of God in honor and prayer. The first virtue, son, if thou wilt lear, is to restrain and keep well thy tongue. Thus learn children when they were been young. My son, my son, of muckle speaking evil avised, where less speaking had enough sufficed, cometh muckle harm. Thus was me told and taught, in muckle speech sin wanteth not. Was though whereof a rackle tongue serveth, right as a sword for cutteth and for carveth an arm a two, my dear son, right so a tongue cutteth friendship all a two. Thank you.
Very
Wow,
nice.
Very good, very
excellent,
good.
Hamza.
Very good.
Excellent recitation.
Thank you.
Very nice.
And you know that this particular poem gave rise to all the proverbs relating to tongue, just like hold your tongue, etc. So this was the poem which was responsible for that. Very good, Hamza. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamza. I hope Meenakshi ji is with us. I don't think she has joined. Right, she hasn't joined. Our next poet is Arif. Did you know Chaucer married his teenage friend? He met his wife, Philippa, while working in Countess Elizabeth's household. She was a lady in waiting for the queen. It is possible that their marriage was arranged as was customary for families working in royal households, but Chaucer's marriage to Philippa, a relatively higher-born lady, appears to have inspired Franklin's Tale, a story in which a lower-born knight marries a higher-born lady. Arif will recite our next poem.
So,
True.
good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Today I'm going to read the poem. Good evening, everybody. Today I'm going to read the poem Truth by Geoffrey Chaucer. Read from the press and dwell with the south-south nest. The pikes thin Owen, D is small. For hate, for hard hate, the clumbling tiredness. Press, hate, navy, envy, and weary bent overall. Savor no tiny the beyond shall blue will they see themselves that other folks can't read, and troubled shall deliver into no dreary tempest the knot or crook to redress in trust of higher that trout not as a ball mishy welly stout in little basin by where therefore no springward and nice null steadily not doubt the crooked the wall doubt the self that doubt others d and trouble shall deliver it no dread ready. This is where I sent receive in Pixamoly is the wrestling for the world exit a fall. There is no home here, nest, but wilderness. From pilgrimage brought distilled out of this shell. Know their contrary, looking up, punk of our God of all. Hold thee, Henry, we, and the last thee goes the lay. Trouble shall deliver, it is no deed. Therefore, thought, war, thou, watch, let thee we will rest, ought to the world level, to this to be tried. Cry him mercy, that of his gold highness, make him of naught, especially draw him out to the hymn and pray in general, for the ick or others heavily made, and the troublesome delivered is no dread. Thank you.
Very
Thank
good, very good.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Arif. It was beautifully recited. I hope Nidaji is with us and she's ready for the next.
Yeah,
Did you know
I'm here.
Chaucer was involved in a scandal involving Cecily Champagne? Chaucer was accused of raptus by Cecily, meaning that he abducted her and abused her. The resultant scandal significantly damaged his career and has even elicited calls to cancel his work today. Although there were accusations and we really do not know what actually happened, we still continue to appreciate his work today. Nidaji, please recite your poem.
First of all, good evening and hello to everyone. My name is Nida, and as we are reciting about Geoffrey Chaucer, and he's the father of English literature, as everybody knows. So I proceed which poem I have selected. Since I from love escaped, I'm so fat. I never think to be in his presence then. Since I am free, I count him not a being. He may answer and say this and that. I do not force, I speak right as I mean. Since I from love escaped, I'm so sad. Love had my name struck out of his slat, and he is struck out of my books clean. Forevermore there is none other me. Since I from love escaped, I am so sad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good,
Very
very
good.
nice.
Very
Thank
good. Very good. Very nice.
Thank you. Chaucer was also a science writer. Did you know that? His instruction manual for the astrolabe, written for his son Thomas, is among the first technical works written in English. The writing is remarkably elaborate. The manual is built on the contributions of medieval astronomers and highlights Chaucer's own conversations with the science of astronomy. Shumaila will be our next poet.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. I am Shamaila, and the poem that I'll be reciting today is Against Women and Confidence. Madam, for your newfangledness, many a servant have ye put out of grace. I take my leave of your unsteadfastness, for well I root while ye have lives space. Ye cannot love full half year in a place. The new thing you lust is I so keen. Instead of blue, thus may ye were all green. Right as a mirror, nothing may impress, but lightly as it cometh, so mote it face. So fareth your love, your works beareth witness. There is no faith that may your heart embrace. But as a weathercock that turneth his face, with every wind ye fare and this is seen. Instead of blue, thus may ye were all green. Ye might be shrined for your brothelness, but that Delida, Cressida, or Candace, forever in chonging stand your silkerness, that teach may no white for your heart erase. If ye less own, ye can well vain purchase, or light for summer, ye would well what I mean. Instead of blue, thus may ye were all green. Thank you.
Very nice, Shumaila, very nice. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Very good,
Very
very well
nice.
chosen.
Very well chosen.
Thank you, Shumaila. I hope Sudeep sir is here with us. Did you know Chaucer was an accomplished public servant? His career spanned 3 decades, during which he rose from the position of a courtier to clerk of the king's work. He also worked as the king's diplomat and even became a member of parliament for Kent. That indeed surprised me a little. Sudeep sir, the stage is yours.
Good evening, good afternoon to all of us, and an absolute pleasure always being here with all the wonderful poets. Thank you, Tufelji, Semiji. Today, I am going to be reciting a rondel, a composition of Chaucer. So I will take it further with the recital. Now welcome summer with thy sun soft, that hast this winter weather's overshake, and driven away the long nights black. Saint Valentine, that art full high aloft, thus sing in small, for less fire their sake. Now welcome summer with the ice and soft that has the winter's weathers overshake. Well have they cause for to gladden oft, whence each of them recovered hath them his make. Full blissful may they sing when they wake. Now welcome the summer with nice and soft that has this winter's weathers overshake and driven away the long night's black. Thank you. It was a
Very good, very
rondel of 3 verses, basically, that most of his works are composed in rondels, and some of them. And what I like about his short structured compositions is he tries to express the similes of human nature with the nature itself, and that is quite interesting, I feel. So I thought of selecting it.
Very well said, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I remember having a chat with you about how we really liked how he
Very
structured
nice.
the. Beautiful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Narendra Chawla from the States. Did you know, in 1998, an original Caxton printing of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales sold at an auction for approximately 7.4 million. William Caxton printed the Canterbury Tales in 1477, just 2 years after the printing of his first book. And it got auctioned at a very high price. Narendra sir, you're next.
Good morning from America. And I feel, Likhta Beti, I feel very much pride and pleasure to recite the poem of Geoffrey Chaucer. And I remind when I did my MA from Shimla, the Chaucer, Milton, Wordsworth, these are my favorite poets. Chaucer is too much favorite because his poems showed us the live pictures when we recite. So if you permit, I have selected 2 small poems to recite here. The first poem, I Want Someone. This is a love poem by Chaucer. I want someone. I am a lonely guy, never figured out why. Why did it have to be me? This is how it's gonna be. I want someone to hold, to live with until I am old. Someone to love and care, and with my life I can share. So when I am old and gray, she will with me stay. And when I am dead and free, I will be always in her heart be. So this is the poem. And the second poem is Pinterest. This is home. Chaucer has depicted that the home is the only place where we are entirely satisfied and with peace. This is our base, our favorite place, our beginning and end to each day. It's our triumph and glory that these walls tell stories as they soak up all we do and say. This is our space. Each corner is laced with items we have chosen with care, from sweet scented candles to fixture and handles. The atmosphere is just right to share, so never or so far, so near or so far, wherever we are, no matter where we choose to roam, we live and we learn, but we always return. This is the place we call home. Thank you very much.
So nice to hear, and it's so nice to know that he was one of your most favorite poets. Yeah, that's great. That's good.
No, thank you very much.
Very well said.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I actually wanted to add on to another fun fact. Did you know that Chaucer's father, John Chaucer, was kidnapped by an aunt in the hope of marrying a 12-year-old to his daughter? They wanted to keep the property in Ipswich, all of the father's property, and later on, the aunt was imprisoned and fined around 250 euros, I believe, which is equivalent to about $200,000 today. That particular fact suggests that they were financially stable. And in 1359, in the early stages of 100 Years of Wars, Edward III invaded France, and Chaucer traveled with Lionel of Antwerp, Elizabeth's husband, as part of the English army. He was part of the war as well. And there's another little fun fact. Like I said, he had connections with the royal family early on in his life. While growing up, Geoffrey Chaucer had early contact with the English royal house due to his father's connections with the army. Consider what significant influence that would have been on young Geoffrey. His first contact is recorded to be in 1357, when he made a page in the house of Elizabeth de Bourgh, the Countess of Ulster. Our next poet is from Bahrain, Shihab Firoz. Sir, the stage is all yours.
वर्टिकल है वो पीछे लिखा है प्लीज हेलो
Yes, Mr. Shahab.
हेलो
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Shahab ji, please continue. We can hear you.
I think he has some connection problem. So, Likita, can you call the next one?
Yes, sir. Anupam Pathak sir will be our next poet. But before that, Chaucer, he wrote in continental syllabic meter, a style which had developed in English literature since around the 12th century as an alternative to the alliterative Anglo-Saxon meter. Chaucer is known for metrical innovation, inventing the rhyme royal. And he was one of the first English poets to use the 5-stress line, a decasyllabic cousin to the iambic pentameter. In his work, with only a few anonymous short works using it before him, he used an arrangement of these 5 stress lines into rhyming couplets. He had a very interesting style of writing. And did you know, he also became a prisoner after the First English War against France. In 1359, King Edward III raised an army and invaded France. Geoffrey Chaucer, being an attendant in the royal court, followed his master, like I've said. On March 1, 1360, the campaign of King Edward III against France hit the rocks during the Siege of Rheims. Geoffrey Chaucer was captured and he became a prisoner in France. It was believed that he wrote a lot of poems when he was in prison. The king later paid a ransom of £16 for his release. Anupam sir, the stage is yours.
Hello, Likita, and hello, everybody. Good evening to you all. Likita, you are just marvelous. The thing, there's a short anecdote which you are saying. There is one thing common in all anecdote, that Chaucer had a wide range of experience. He saw everything. He saw everything. And he belonged to a particular age where English was not considered to be fit for serious writing. It was at a particular time when even photography was also not very well developed. So we hardly know what Chaucer was, but whatever he has written in his particular works, we can say that he was of a medium height, he was a fair complexion, and a very short beard, as you see in his photographs, the white beard as such. And he lived a life of just 60 years, about 60 years. He was born in 1340, and he died in the advent of 14th century. But his proximity to this government work, etc., gave him that focus where his works were very well documented, whatever we see. So if we see Chaucer as such, so Chaucer is considered to be father of English literature because he had taken up a project and tried to prove that expression is not related to any language as such, because French and Italian was considered for literature. So he established that English language, serious writing can be written in English, and he wrote profusely along with his work. And he showed that, and to show it, he had envisaged a very big canvas for Canterbury Tales. He envisaged that around 120 tales he thought that he will be putting up in a very big book, so that to show that the English literature can be written, in English also. But as we see that it was just beginning of English language. And in this modern world, when we try to read Chaucer, the moment we see Chaucer, we are very afraid of the writing style as such. But if we go behind, the thoughts are so simple, they are so elaborate, and it reflects. It is so simple that you don't have to infer anything. Everything is written. It just crosses your mind. So this was, and I have chosen his famous apart from his famous book, the Canterbury Tales only. He was able to write only 24 tales. But the beauty of those particular tales was that if you see Canterbury Tales, it is just nothing but a path of life. In a particular inn, people are coming and they are going to a shrine. Everything will happen in front of him. Only thing is that he put it into tales. And the objective of putting it into tales was that he wanted to show you can see the reflection panorama of 14th century, what 14th century society was. And in this, all this particular 23 and a half, he was not able to complete the 24th tale. So 23 poems in the particular tales, the elaborate tales as such, there is only one dedicated to women. That is the wife of Bath tale. And it is considered, and the way he has studied the women's psychology in that particular thing, it is itself an education in that whole thing. And for choosing this part from Wife of Bath, which I am trying to say today, is just because today is a very, very serious day for me, because today was the day when my mother passed. So this is this part is a dedication to my own mother that I am trying to read. Though no doubt I am reading, it is a male voice, but whatever I am reading is from the woman's perspective. In a particular prologue, what the wife of Bath, she hears a particular person that the gentleness or the nobility or gentleness, it comes from the nobility. If your ancestors are noble, you are also noble. So in this particular piece, she responds to him. She argues that gentleness is not due to nobility or lineage. It is fact, and you will see the beauty of it. Beautiful how she makes a statement, how she defends it. And the last two lines are something which she says that being a second-rated race out of male and female, there is some parity also. So here I say gentleness means nothing but gentleness or nobility. So I start my piece. She is responding. But since you speak of such gentleness, sorry, but I have heard the original version of that 14th century language. But only thing, since we are living in a modern world, I would like to say Chaucer in modern language so that everybody can understand what he actually is trying to say. But since you speak of gentleness, here I begin. But since you speak of such gentleness as it descends out of old riches, that therefore you should be a gentleman, such arrogance is not worth a hen. Look, who is most virtuous always, in private and public, the most intense, to do gentle deeds he can. Take him to be the greatest gentleman. In all his poems which followed, he never defined what is gentleness. This is the only part where he defines what is gentleness. Christ, would we claim our gentleness from him, not from our ancestors for their old riches? For though they gave us all their heritage, for which we claim to be of noble lineage, yet may they not bequeath for nothing to none of us their virtuous living, that made to be called gentlemen and bade us follow them in such matters. Well, the wise poet of Florence, who is called Dante, spoke on this matter. Lo, in such sort of rhyme is Dante's tale. Quote, very seldom grows up from its small branches power of man, for God of his goodness want us to claim our gentleness from him, unquote. For from our ancestors, we can claim nothing except temporal things that may hurt or injure a man. Also, every person knows this well, as well as I. If gentleness was planted naturally into certain lineage down the line, then in private and public, they would never cease to do just duties of gentleness. They could do no dishonor or vice. Take fire and beer in the darkest hours between this and Mount of Caucasus, and let men shut the door and go away. And yet the fire the fire will burn, bright blaze and as if 20,000 men might behold. Its natural function will always hold. On peril of my life, I say, until it dies. Here may you see well that gentleness is not joined with possession, since folk do not behave as they should. Always as does the fire low in its nature. For God knows it, men may well often find a Lord's son doing shame and dishonor. And he who have praised his noble birth because he was born in a noble house and has his noble and virtuous ancestors, and will not himself do any noble deeds, not follow his noble ancestry that is dead. He is not noble, be he duke or earl, for churlish sinful deed makes a churl. For gentleness is nothing but renown of your ancestors for their great goodness, for which is thing not naturally part of your person. Your gentleness comes from God alone. Then our true gentleness comes from grace. It was not at all bequeathed to us with our social rank. Thank you.
That was a great citation and wonderful insight into the life and work of Chaucer by Anupam Ji. Wonderful, wonderful. It was a
Beautiful,
pleasure
beautiful.
listening to you.
Beautifully presented.
Thank you.
And what
And
I
it must
really
have
love is the way
been a
you
topic to talk about.
elaborated before the poetry. It was so educational. I mean,
Thank you. There are 3 versions of this particular gentleness, and this is the only piece where gentleness was defined.
beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful, sir. And Canterbury Tales should remain to be one of the most iconic elements of literature. And I don't know if a lot of you remember, but the general prologue of the Canterbury Tales should be the highlight of the whole part of it. And even the opening lines of the general prologue should be some of the most powerful and evocative pieces of writing in like the history of English literature. And thank you very much, sir. Thank you for reciting. I hope Chanakya sir is here with us.
Yes,
Did
Likita,
you
I'm here. Yes,
Thank-
I'm here.
Did you know
First,
Chaucer was buried in Westminster at Poets' Corner?
yep,
This
heard
burial
about
spot
that.
was selected because he had overseen construction at Westminster as the clerk of works. And in case you all did not know, the Poets' Corner is one of Westminster Abbey's most iconic features. It was originally established in the year 1400 as the burial place for Geoffrey Chaucer, but has since been expanded to include other famous authors as well. Today, there are more than 100 writers and poets who have been commemorated at the Poets' Corner. Chanakya sir, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. And I have had the luck of visiting the Poets' Corner and spend some time. Especially, I said a prayer to my English teacher, all my English teachers rather, because they've been the backbone of my English that has guided me and helped me when I came and settled in United Kingdom. So the Poets' Corner is a special place for me to go to in UK. And when Sharadji told me about this, the program, I was a bit touched because Geoffrey Chaucer was my English teacher's, one of my English teacher's favorite poet. So, and I remember her reading this poem, Proverbs of Chaucer, to me. So I thought that's the best poem I could recite at this gathering. So thank you, everybody. Here I go. Proverbs of Chaucer. What should these clothes thus manifold? Lo, this hot summer's day, after great heat cometh cold, no man cast his pilch away. Of all this world the large compass will not in mine arms twain. Who so much will embrace, little thereof he has distrain, sorry. The world so wide, the air so removable, the silly man so little of stature, the green of ground and clothes so mutable. The fire so hot and subtle of nature, the water never in one, what creature that made is of these four, thus flitting, may steadfast be as here in his living? The more I go, the farther I am behind. The farther behind, the nearer my war's end. The more I seek, the worse can I find. The lighter leave, the louder for the wind. The better I live, the more out of mind. Is this fortune, not I, or infortune? Though I go loose tide, am I on a lion? That's the Proverbs of Chaucer for you, everyone. And thank you for everyone for this opportunity.
Very good.
Thank
Very
you very
good.
much.
Very good.
Thank you. Very
Very
nice.
nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
To know
Nicely
your
said.
life.
Thank you, sir. And so apologies, I joined the program late because I was held up on a different aspect, and I'm still in the car. So I was about to get home and settle myself into a comfortable chair, but I'm still out in here. So thank you for taking this from my car.
It was so beautiful.
Making time, sir.
Thank you.
Making time for us. Thank you so
It's
much.
my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, Sharaji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anupam.
Shrivani will be our next poet. But before that, did you know on St. George's Day, 1374, Edward III granted Geoffrey Chaucer a gallon of wine for every day for the rest of his life. In the same year, Chaucer was made comptroller, a sort of financial overseer or manager of London customs, a lucrative and highly sought position. His wine stipend lasted for just 4 years, shortly after Edward III died in 1377, and Richard II ascended to the throne. The wine allowance was then turned into a monetary stipend. Shrivani, we're all ears.
Thank you, Likita. So the title of my poem of choice is Chaucer's ABCs. This poem appears to be in Chaucer's close translation of a prayer that first appeared in French. Now, according to some, Chaucer's poem was composed at the request of the Duchess of Lancaster as a prayer for her private use. So if this statement is true, then this must be one of Chaucer's earliest poems, one that was written even before the Book of the Duchess. The form of the poem is an acrostic. Each stanza begins with a letter of the medieval Latin alphabet, each appearing in sequence, progressing from the letter A to Z. As we get closer to World Poetry Day, which is on the 21st of March, I would like to present this wonderful poem from the father of English poetry. I shall be reading to you stanzas A to Z. Almighty and all-merciable Queen, to whom all this world pleads for support, to have relief of sin, of sorrow, of deed, glorious Virgin of all flowers of love, to thee I plead, confounded in error. Help and relief, Almighty Debonair, have mercy of my perilous languor. Vanquished me, hath my cruel adversary. Bounty so big hath in thy heart his tent, that well I wot thou wilt my succor be. Thou canst not want that with good intent asketh thy help. Thy heart is so free. Thou art largest of flame felicity, haven and refuge of quiet and rest. Lo, how that thief seven shades me. Help, lady bright, ere that my ship to breast. Comfort is none, but in you, lady dear. For lo, my sin and my confusion, which ought not in thy presence to appear, have taken on me a grievous action of very right and desperation. And, as by right, they might well suspect that I were worthy my damnation. Nay, were it mercy of you, blissful queen. And finally, doubt is there none, queen of misericord, that thou art cause of grace and mercy here. For vouchsafe will be with us to accord, for certain, Christ's blissful mother dear. For now the bow went in such manner as it was birth of justice and of ire. The rightful God would of no mercy fear, but through thee have we prayed as we desire. Thank you.
Very well recited, very well recited, Shivani, and your prelude was wonderful.
Thank you.
Very well recited. And I really like how Vibhaji was absolutely feeling the poem as she recited. Beautiful.
We were also feeling very similarly. We were enjoying her diction. It was so pure and so good. So we were just immersed in the whole thing. It was very well said. Shivani, very good.
Thank you.
Very well recited. Is Shihab sir with us?
Yes, I'm there.
So, hello, sir.
Yeah.
Before he takes over the stage, did you know Chaucer disappeared from the public eye for 6 years? After his release from France, like I mentioned in a previous fact that he was arrested in France. After he was released, Geoffrey Chaucer was last seen again in France where he was on a mission for Prince Lionel. An interesting fact about him is that after this, nothing was heard from him for about 6 years. Many reports follow the idea that he had gone to study at the Inner Temple as a law apprentice. This is so because it is an English tradition that those who would serve the royal house should go through that kind of an education. Sir, the stage is yours now.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to recite one of Chaucer's work. And Geoffrey Chaucer is supposed to be the father of English literature. So today the poem that I'm going to recite is Chaucer's Prophecy, and definitely Canterbury Tales is the magnum opus of Chaucer, but this is a short poem, and it speaks a lot about the 14th century and the conditions prevailing, and the exploitation of people, of masses, both physical, societal exploitation. And Chaucer warns people, that about the consequences related to this exploitation. He even questions the church and the feudal lords. So he warns the people of the land of Albion. So Albion is from the Latin word albus, which is the land of white. So that is England and the British Isles. So I'm just going to read this poem, and again, in the other half, he prays, for the people and for the land, where he says, Sancta Maria, or Holy Mary, pray for England, just like Thomas of Cantoria, which is Canterbury, Saint Thomas. So the poem goes like this, that when priests failen in their cause and lords turn God's laws against the right, and lechery is holden as privy solace, and robbery as free purchase, beware then of ills. Then shall the land of Albion turn to confusion, as sometime it befell. Ora pro Anglia Sancta Maria, quote Thomas Cantoria. Sweet Jesus, heaven's King, fair and best of all things, you bring us out of this morning to come to thee at our ending. So this is the short poem by Geoffrey, and it gives us insight of the 14th century conditions prevailing, where I see that the church, people started questioning the church, and Protestantism was something which was taking its root. Definitely in the 15th century, Protestantism was dominant, but the starting was somewhere in the 14th century, and the insights from this poem, gives us that the conditions happening at that time. So it's a beautiful poem, and this goes for all the ages, where the clergy is questioned, and the feudal lords is questioned, and wherever there is exploitation of people, this poem would be read aloud. So that's it.
Very good, and very well explained and very well told.
Thank you.
Ati Sundar. Very
Nice
nice.
presentation, Mr. Firoz.
Thank you so much.
I think we have been missing 3 poets, Samina ji, Batul ji, and Momita ji.
Yes. Momita ji, I have been contacting she and her husband. So while the magazine is being displayed, maybe we can, she should join. Let us know. Yeah.
Definitely. Since you all have been reciting your favorite poems about Geoffrey Chaucer, it reminds me about one of my favorite poems that I came across in my university, a ballad sent to King Richard. I don't really want to recite the whole thing, but what really caught my attention is that the main issue in that poem is that the prevalent corruption in the world, it revolves around that, all due to what Chaucer feels is a lack of steadfastness, and he mentions that in the poem. And since it's a ballad sent to King Richard, he also mentions that there is no loyalty to the crown, or that can also mean people these days do not really have stability. And I really love that poem. And in that poem, to put an end to all of these ill behavior, Chaucer urges the king to be a morally upstanding king, and his people shall follow. And my professor happened to say that this also says people can have problems and people can have their own dark sides, but correcting yourself should be the solution. Like, even before you go ahead and look for a bigger solution, finding a medicine in yourself should be the actual medicine. And before we go ahead, I would like to invite Vibaji to please present the magazine.
We also went to Google after listening this name. Somehow new name for us, father of
Ma'am, volume. Devaji, volume, please.
Hello.
Yeah, now it's better.
So, you have done a great research. A university student who is studying the literature is explaining about father of poetry. Yeah. Great day for PLG.
थोड़ा थोड़ा माइक्रोफोन के मुंह के और पास ले आइएगा.
Yes, ma'am. I think your audio seems to be a little feeble and
No, she is searching for the poem, that magazine. The moment she gets the magazine, she will be alive.
while she searches for the magazine, I have a little fact again. I think I'm bothering you all with facts today. Did you know Geoffrey was influenced by medieval Italian poetry? While serving as a whale for the king, he had to travel so many different places. And during one of his travels, it was recorded that he attended a marriage ceremony in Milan. And this knowledge later helped him develop his writings. I'll hand it over to Vivaji now.
While the participants share someone anyone else is sharing?
Volume.
Vivaji, I have placed the magazine. You can keep explaining, and I'll keep unfolding.
Okay, I was getting that same message that someone else is sharing the magazine.
No, I shared because your magazine was not getting shared, no? So, you want me to close or you can continue, no? I will just change.
नहीं सर, यहाँ से हम स्टार्ट करते हैं. ये कवर जो है ये मृत्युंजय जी ने बना के भेजा. मृत्युंजय श्रीवास्तव जी के द्वारा ये कवर बनाया गया है. बहुत ही खूबसूरत कवर है. और ये होली अभी हाल में ही पार हुई है और ओपन पोइट्री थी पिछले सप्ताह. तो ओपन पोइट्री के थीम को, भावनाओं को लक्ष्य करके उन्होंने ये कवर तैयार किया है मृत्युंजय जी ने. इसमें आप बहुत सारे रंग देख सकते हैं और लकीरें देख सकते हैं. जो स्केच पेन का शायद उन्होंने या कलम का इस्तेमाल किया है पूरी तस्वीर को रंगने के लिए और बनाने के लिए. तो ये पैनी लकीरें अलग अलग भावों को, विचारों को दिखा रही हैं और अलग अलग रंग ओपन पोएट्री के अलग अलग स्वाद को, भाव को, भाषाओं को दिखा रही है. पिछले सप्ताह हम जानते हैं कि हिंदी, इंग्लिश, उर्दू के अलावा उड़िया भाषा में भी कविता पढ़ी गई थी. और हमारे मृत्युंजय श्रीवास्तव जी की तस्वीर है उसके बाद अगले पन्ने पर. और उसके बाद बहुत ही खूबसूरत रिपोर्ट जो है वो तैयार किया गया है हमारे मीडिया मैनेजर साहब के द्वारा. के बाद रिपोर्ट के बाद हमारी कवियों की सूची है और उसके बाद हमारी कविताएं हैं. संजय विद जी ने एंकरिंग की थी, मंच का संचालन किया था. बहुत ही लाजवाब संचालन था और खासकर उनका जो सेटअप था वो बता रहा था कितनी तैयारी उन्होंने की और कितने दिल से उन्होंने सबका परिचय किया. हर कविता पे जो कमेंट जो करते हैं, उनके पूरक जो कमेंट होते हैं, कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स जो उन्होंने दिए थे, बहुत ही खूबसूरत थे और बहुत ही सुंदर सेशन रहा पिछले सप्ताह का. और उसके बाद हमारे माननीय कवियों द्वारा लिखी हुई उनकी प्रिय कविताएं, प्रायः होली, त्योहार, माँ, ऐसे विषयों को छुआ गया. और ये आपका मैगजीन है. और इसके बाद आखिरी पन्ने पर हमारे आगामी कार्यक्रमों की सूची है और उसके बाद प्रतिभागी कवियों का जो नाम है और उनकी तस्वीरें बैनर में वो इस मैगजीन के आखिरी पन्ने पर संलग्न है. तो ये मैगजीन समर्पित है हमारे काव्य प्रेमियों को, हमारे श्रोतागण को और हमारे PLG के सभी डेडिकेटेड पोइट्स को जो समय पर यहाँ जुड़ते हैं। कोई कार से जुड़ा है, कोई अपने व्यापार से जुड़ा है, लेकिन हर काम छोड़कर जितनी देर PLG जुड़ता है, PLG शुरू होता है, PLG का कार्यक्रम चलता है, हर कोई PLG से ही जुड़ा है और फिर PLG से जुड़ा है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद लिखिता, आप कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाएं।
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And with that, we have come to an end. Geoffrey Chaucer rose against all the odds to develop what we know today as English literature. This great achievement is the literary trend that many English writers have adopted. The name Geoffrey Chaucer is perhaps the first thing you would hear when you inquire about literature in Middle Ages. While students of literature should be interested in Geoffrey Chaucer, every other person that is a fan of English literature books should also know one or two things about him. That should be our culture. That will bring us to the end of today's poetry session. I humbly hand the stage over to Simiji.
Good evening, good morning, namaskar. CTL, Celebrating the Legend, is a unique program of PLG, where we learn about our legends and about their lives and poetic journey. When you read about your legend, you learn and appreciate the influence these poets have upon your lives. You discover a new dimension of poetic thinking and your style changes. Your brain is activated and you start imagining new and unique ideas. Today's program, CTL, Geoffrey Chaucer, was very beautiful. We came to know lots of facts about the poet. Licky Doll, as usual, was brilliant in her anchoring. She did marvelous job. She did her anchoring just like a documentary. Thank you so much, Licky Doll, for your outstanding anchoring. Today, all participants were excellent. Miss Charvi recited the complaint of Chaucer to his purse. Master Hamza Rizvi, controlling the tongue. Master Arif Tufel, truth, balade, de bond counsel. Nidaji, since I from love. Sudeep ji, roundel. Anupam Pathak ji, gentility. Shumaila ji, against woman constant. Narendra ji, I want someone. Chanukya ji, proverbs of Chaucer. Shrivani, La Parade de Notre Dame. Shahab Firoji, Chaucer's prophecy. Licky Doll, ballad sent to king. Thank you so much, all our scholars, participants. You enhance the grace of the program. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Global President Tufel-ji. I would like to thank Global Vice President Satish-ji and Anupam Kinger-ji. I would like to thank all Regional President Vibha-ji, Manorma-ji, Executive Councillor Sharad-ji, Aniruddha-ji, Khalik-ji. For media report, I would like to thank Kapil Batra-ji, Anupam Kinger-ji, Anupam Pathak-ji, and Sherebanu-ji and Licky Doll. For e-magazine, I would like to thank Chief Editor Vibha-ji, Hindi Editor Purnima-ji, Art Design Editor Dr. Shalini-ji. For interview with a great personality, I would like to thank Anupam Kinger-ji and Kiran-ji. For mentorship program, I would like to thank Professor Satish-ji, Kapil Batra-ji, Ram Sarup Dikshit-ji, Anupam Ramesh Kinger-ji, Braj Kishore-ji, Vinay Mohanta-ji, and Mustaq Sadaf-ji. For certificates, I would like to thank Manawar-ji. For CTL poster, I would like to thank Zoeb-ji. I would like to thank all viewers who are watching through YouTube. See you tomorrow at 7:30 Indian time in PAG event Jaan Pehchan Part 2, where you will see multiple talents of our participants. Till then, good night, Shubh Ratri, Sabah Khair.
Thank you very much,
So with that, we come to the end of this program, signing off.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.